Hey, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Brand OTC or Brand Over the Counter, where we answer your branding questions with a full over the counter product. Now, today's product is called Focusin, and it helps brands choose the right level of focus so they attract the right audience at the right stage without spreading themselves too thin. So, if you're dealing with being spread too thin, a lack of customer loyalty, unclear messaging, or if you're struggling to scale, this is the episode for you because we are clearing the fog around niching versus broad appeal so that you can make strategic moves without confusion. Well, hello, hello, hello. My name is Cynthia Akita, and I am your brand strategist, designer, and educator here at the Design Firmacy. And today's question is, should I niche down or try to appeal to a broader audience? All right, well, let's get into it. Should you niche down or should you have a broad audience? The quick and easy answer is you should absolutely niche when it comes to your audience. Now, I know people have a love-hate relationship with the word niching, and I know even for me it's a little bit weird, but niching is necessary in certain areas. Now, when you niche, it's not necessarily about putting yourself in a tiny box as, you know, it seems like. But when I understand the word niching, it's more so about creating a focus. And so the reality, especially when it comes to your audience, is you just cannot market to everybody and you cannot do it effectively. And so you also don't want to lock yourself down into a narrow lane forever. And so you have like both sides of the spectrum, right? You can't speak to everyone, but you also don't want to be too niche where you feel like there's no growth in whatever it is that you're doing. So I want to talk to you guys about focusing now so that you could leave some room for growth later. So let's get into niching. So the online space, as I've mentioned, it makes people believe that you have to niche in order to succeed. And that's not true for everyone, right? Niching is a belief. It's a belief. You know, someone came up with the term and said, hey, I can apply this to business. You know, maybe it's worked for me. So I want to tell everybody that they have to niche. Everyone does not have to niche. You know, you can get to a successful destination, you know, in your journey without niching. And some of you can get there with niching, right? But I want you guys to understand that niching is a tool. It's not a prison. At the end of the day, you are the CEO of your business and you have every right to make the decisions that you feel is best for the success of your business. And so if niching is a part of that, go ahead and do that. If niching is not, then, you know, forget about it. And that's in any part of your business that niching can apply to, right? But today we are going to talk specifically about building your audience. And so when you have a focused audience, it absolutely helps you center your efforts and to really focus on reaching that specific audience with clear messaging, clear offers that actually help them versus you being so broad in that area. So when you niche with your audience, it really helps you to gain traction and it leaves room for your brand to also grow because your audience is going to grow. Let's say you have, an app. You have an app, let's say an Instagram, or let's say Facebook. Facebook. So when Facebook first started, it was for students who were in college. And that might sound a little crazy, but that's what Facebook was for, to get people to connect, right? And so you had to be in college to get on Facebook. And, you know, things changed. I mean, in the beginning, that was their audience and it was working for them. And they realized that things could change. They could take things into a different direction. So then it sort of kind of became the family re-engagement tool where people were getting on and they were finding their family members from different locations, different countries. And it was a means of, getting to connect with your family members, even though you guys do not live anywhere near each other. And so you'll see that Facebook has evolved over the years. And even now, people still use Facebook. I know it's not necessarily the app of this current generation, right? TikTok is, but we don't know how TikTok is going to evolve just because their audience is also growing and maturing, hopefully. And so, that's the fun thing about learning about brands. They don't stay the same forever. They change, they evolve, they grow based on the needs of their audience. And that's what you can also take from this conversation, that although you are niching, although you are having a focused audience, things will still be able to change because your audience is also going to change. And so the danger of going too broad now is that when you're marketing to everyone, you are honestly connecting with no one. And so let's say you're a fitness coach and you say, I help people get healthy, that's just generic, right? But if you want a little bit of a competitive edge, you may want to consider getting a bit more specific and saying something like, hey, I help new moms rebuild strength after pregnancy. That's something that allows someone to connect directly to that premise and say, hey, that's me. Like, I want to do that. I want to accomplish that. Yes, people want to get healthy, but there's something special about having messaging that connects with a specific person or a specific type of person. And so that's the great part about having a focus with your audience, rather than trying to be so broad and trying to cater to everyone. And I know it can be hard because you may feel like you don't want to leave anybody out. And at the end of the day, although you may focus on new moms, you may get someone who has been a mom for a little while and just hasn't had the time to start working out. That's still someone who could essentially fall into that audience. Even if they're not a new mom, they're still a mom, right? And so although you have your specific audience, people who live around that messaging can also find a way to join in. Excuse me. All right. Now, when it comes to focus versus restriction, as I probably mentioned already, when you niche in your audience, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're limiting your potential. It just really means that you should focus on one clear thing at a time. So when Amazon first started their business, it was just about books, right? Not every single thing that you see on their website right now. So they later expanded once they had the trust of their audience. And now look at them, like everyone talks about Amazon Prime, fast delivery. Amazon is the shop for almost everything that you need, right? But they started somewhere. And so the point and the fact of the matter is that you have to start somewhere, build that trust, and then evolve as your audience evolves as well. Which brings us to our next point, that your audience is going to evolve. Now, your niche may change as your brand grows and as your audience's needs shift. And so, for example, like if we stay with the moms, you may start off with new moms and then realize, based on where you are or how people are responding, okay, now the new moms are getting stronger. That was the goal. Now, what's the next thing that I can do to help them along their journey? Maybe that brings you to group coaching instead of working with people one by one. Maybe it brings you to start a product line, something that'll be easy and quick for them that, they don't have to spend too much time doing because they're moms and they're busy. They don't have a lot of free time. And so your audience's needs are going to shift, and then, you'll be able to retailer your approach and your messaging to ensure that you can fit them. So another example is that maybe you're a career coach and you might start off with the premise of helping recent grads land their first job. Well, now that they've landed their first job, you will later evolve into helping mid-career professionals pivot into leadership within their jobs. And so again, you're not boxed up into a prison when you're niching your audience. You're actually giving your brand an opportunity to grow and have different arms and different legs, to further grow the brand. So ask yourself, how are you going to decide what to focus on right now? And you should ask yourself, what's the one problem that you can solve the best right now? Now, I know we all have, our dreams and we've imagined how we want our businesses to go in a certain direction, but maybe put that aside for a little bit in case it's not the answer to the question that I just asked, which is what is the one problem that I can solve best? Keyword best right now. So instead of helping small businesses grow, you could say you're helping small businesses clarify their messaging to attract better clients. And that's what we do over here at the Design Firmacy. So again, what's the one problem I can solve best right now? And then finally, the long-term benefit of starting with focus is that when you start with a clear and focused promise, it helps you to build that credibility, that loyalty, that trust, and it helps you to have a strong brand foundation. And so once you're established and people trust you, you can really expand your brand with a whole lot of ease. And we love ease. I love ease so much. Everything doesn't have to be so hard, right? So you don't have to niche forever, especially when it comes to your audience, but it is important for you to have a focus. And so think of your niche as the entry point that helps you to get to your final destination. All right. So start by being focused, grow strategically, and let your brand evolve with your audience. Now, if you want clarity on your brand's focus and direction, I want you to go ahead and take the Brand Vitals assessment by visiting mybrandvitals.com. But if you join our new school group called Personify My Brand, you can get access to the Brand Vitals assessment for free. So visit the link on your screen and join our group, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye. Discover what sets your brand apart, then say it with confidence. What's Your Secret Sauce is a free 3-day challenge designed to help entrepreneurs uncover the unique flavor that makes their brand unforgettable. Through guided prompts, live training, and powerful clarity exercises, you'll identify what truly sets you apart and how to communicate it in a way that connects and converts. If you've ever struggled to stand out in a crowded market or explain what makes you different, this challenge will give you the breakthrough you need. You'll walk away with your personalized secret sauce recipe, a clear, compelling blend of your brand's strengths, purpose, and positioning that makes selling feel natural. Join us by visiting brandmysecretsauce.com. You're doing all the things: posting content, updating your website, running ads, tweaking your offers, but still wondering, why isn't this working? Truth is, you might be focusing on areas that look productive, but aren't actually moving the needle. The Brand Vitals assessment helps you stop guessing and start targeting. It's like a wellness checkup, but for your brand. You'll gain crystal clear insight into the 9 essential areas every brand needs to thrive. No fluff, no filler, just facts about where your brand stands and what needs your focus. Because clarity is the first step to real momentum. And when you know where to focus, you start to see progress, not just activity. Get out of busy work. Get into brand building that actually works. Take the Brand Vitals assessment now. Have you tapped into your Firmacy benefits? As a beneficiary, you unlock special offers, gifts, and always stay in the loop. Subscribe today to receive your exclusive dose. Visit firmacybenefits.com.